first of all, thank you so much for coming. And it was an extra commitment that you made to do this with us. And we're so very thankful.
I love Houston. I do. It's like you talk about your wins. Okay, this is a win for me to come to a community that I really love, the camaraderie of the design group. It is truly very family feeling in the nicest possible way, not dysfunctional at all, but just fun. And, everybody gets along. And I love it because it is rare. This is not true for every design community.
Well, I'm so glad that you said that. That is actually how Casey and I became really close friends, is we're part of a design group. There's 10 of us. And I can say this, I don't know if it has to be blipped or not, but we're called the Design Bitches in our with the Z. Oh, there's some bitches in the audience with a Z. And we share contracts and resources and contractors at the last minute when somebody falls through. And yeah.
And I'm going to piggyback because the wildness is, her and I really got it because I was here working with Fatima, wherever that beautiful human is, on window treatments. And she was asking questions. And construction is my background more than window treatments. And I was like, oh, I don't know. My eyes are crossing every which way. And she was helping. And I walked out and Rainey comes up and she's like, hey, anytime you need anything, like this is my bag. And her office she had a showroom a couple doors down. And that was it. Like who does that in our industry? Most people keep all their stuff, that's the old school, but
close to the vest.
That close to the vest.
Yeah.
And she just brought me in on that. And then again, we have this. So that's how we met, was from this showroom, actually. So that actually full circle.
Full circle that we're here. Yes.
And talking
thank
about
you, Raphael and Laura, for hosting.
Yeah.
And Fabric House, which is now a Sunny Road company, they have really come into this area and made this showroom accessible and happy and full of life. And we're just so grateful to you guys and so happy to give you business.
I know, this is great. So, yeah.
So your win, what's your win?
I will be, and this is actually sad because as we're talking about Houston and how great the design is, and it's not sad, it's exciting. We're signed a lease on a place out in Santa Barbara, so we will be leaving our place here and still be working in Houston, but will not be, based here anymore. But the win is we just found
But you know what? You can take this to
That's
Santa Barbara.
What I'm hoping.
You have the framework. So let's make this framework. Let's reframe Santa Barbara. I can't talk about that community. I can only brag on Houston. So
but I love that. But so that's my win, is we found a great place finally. So we get to
and I'm
do
so
that
happy
thing.
for you, but I don't want to talk about it anymore because it will make me cry. So, but I'm so happy for you and your family. My win is I have 3 grands, an 11-year-old granddaughter and twin grandsons that are 8, and I'm Glammy. You said your grandma name is Honey. So I'm Glammy, and my husband and I are taking our twin grandsons to see the Savannah Bananas Friday night.
Oh, how fun.
And I am so excited about it. It's like I just keep thinking about what their faces are going to be like. They're big into sports. Their dad is 6'7" or something. So these kids are going to almost taller than me, and they're 8. So this is going to be exciting for us. So that's Friday night for us. So that's my win. So we are doing a live podcast today. I'm Rainey. This is Casey. And we are reframing the art of interior design.
And if anybody's listening, normally you're listening maybe in your car, your earbuds or anything, but today we've taken it live on the road, like we kind of already mentioned, but here at Fabric House in Houston, but with the great and talented Lynn Terry. So we can't wait to dive in with you.
So we were reading your biography, and the first thing that became apparent to me is that your background and your job are completely on opposite sides of the spectrum.
Correct.
So tell us about your background and tell us how you became the editor of Southern Home.
So what I would say to everyone is you can always reinvent yourself. You have to be open to the possibilities and not think, I can't do this. I think it's kind of like, why can't I do this? So Yeah, my undergraduate degree is in economics, and I have a master's in business and a master's in health administration.
Yeah.
And so I started my career with E&Y doing bond refinancings for hospitals. So that's really my comfort zone. And, one thing led to another. And when my husband, we moved from Charlotte to Atlanta to Dallas, Birmingham. And when I was in Birmingham, I was like, I can only walk so many miles. My house can only be so clean. I need to get back in. And so I interviewed with Phyllis Hoffman, who is the CEO of Hoffman Media, and started with them 20 years ago as basically a jack of all trades. I did the test kitchen build out. The test kitchen reported to me. HR reported to me. IT reported to me. Well, as we evolved as a company, we were always looking for what's missing in the market. And so Phyllis's son, Brian, started Bake from Scratch because he felt like that there was a real need for artisan baking. And I'm like, I really miss Southern Accents. Southern Accents closed in 2008. And I'm like, that was just kind of the arbiter of taste, which is kind of comical because I'm not a designer. I'm not an editor. I don't have any of that background. And so my boss, Phyllis, said, Lynn, I believe you're the most passionate about this project. I think you should do it. And I'm like, but I am not a writer. I can write, but I'm much more comfortable with bullet points, to the fact. Not a great friend of adjectives, but what I learned, but I said, I'm willing to try it. And what I found is I needed a group of writers, freelance writers, but I had always been a real student of design. I love looking at pictures. I love looking at how they put things together. And that part came naturally. And you just have to be very organized to be in my opinion, to be a good editor. And at the end of the day, Southern Home, we started 10 years ago. I've learned a lot over 10 years. I figured out how things work a little better. But I pride myself in the professionalism that I learned at E&Y about how you treat people, how that comes back to you. And I try to be nice. I mean, I do. I think that it costs nothing to be nice and to be professional. And so if you have a project with me, I want you at the end of the day to say, I had a great experience with Southern Home. The writers got me. I love my layout because they're going to have another great project. Now, I will say, being published is like being on crack cocaine. Not that I know what crack cocaine is like, but it is very similar. Because, once you get published, you want everything to be published. And I can't publish every project that you do. And honestly, every project is not magazine worthy, and you have to know your magazine. Like I see a beautiful kitchen. They're like, oh, you need to do this kitchen. It's like, that's fantastic. I love this kitchen, but I do whole houses because that's what my readers want. They want to go through the whole house and see how everything relates to each other. So I listen to my readers. And everybody does it different, but we stick to homes that are in the South and usually by noted architects or designers. But I have a real passion for showcasing some people that may not be as well known. They may not have been in the industry 25 years and have 5 books out. The design is just as good. So it makes my heart happy to showcase somebody that everybody doesn't know. They're not a household name,
Mm-hmm.
Not taking away from any the people that are super experienced, but trying to say, hey, you need to know about Rainey or Casey or whatever, and this is what they're doing. And I'm not saying we don't care about the homeowners. We do care, but our copy is totally geared towards the designer and the architect. And so, the homeowner may have a quote in there, but it's, I don't I don't use their picture. I'm not going to use your picture. Y'all are beautiful, but I don't care. You know, you know, I had a designer tell me one time, I'm really beautiful. I'm really pretty and you should run my picture. And I said, that is fantastic. I'm so happy for you. And you are lovely, but I don't care. So your design work is going to have to really speak for itself.
Beautiful as you are, right? Like,
Okay, so you answered all of our questions.
Oh my God, so we're done.
Okay.
We're just literally said everything that because
we're going to make a tea and just listen to you
yeah,
talk.
we're just going to say
Okay.
But that was perfect. But that kind of does lend to when you started 10 years ago and you were interested in houses and you loved it, but you weren't necessarily I didn't have the background.
I did not.
So you went out looking for these freelance writers, and at that time though, when it feels like it could have been so fresh because you don't have all the designers that everybody already knew and were already being published. So your eyes were so fresh to it. Did
right.
that continue?
And I do think it helps a lot that I have a strong business background. So some of the things that people do as editors, I'm like, they're real head scratchers. I don't understand why do we do it that way? Like, that's stupid. So that honestly, I feel like that's almost like a plus because I didn't have any preconceived ideas of how it had to be.
Right.
And a lot of people really want to hire writers and they have to write 3 stories. I feel like my magazine's better because I have different voices. And I can talk to designers and I think, oh, wow, they need to be with this writer because they're going to get them. You know, every writer doesn't get every designer. And I would tell you, if any of you are considering books, regardless of what they will tell you, you should always interview like 3 writers to see who gets you, who understands your voice. And like 83 Press is our book division. And that's just one thing that we tried very hard to say, okay, this is kind of how it should be. Because you don't want it shouldn't have to be hard to talk to someone about your thoughts when you created a room, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your book, when people buy it, you want them to pick it up and think, yeah, I get that. I get that designer. I understand what she was saying. And Andrew Howard, I was just interviewing him. His book he's very funny, very, very funny. And, you know, he has a completely different writing style than you're going to typically see, but very approachable.
Which is
approachable. There's the word.
That's the big word. And so with that, you brought both entities to this in such a different way.
Right.
Like, so your eyes are fresher. You will take that designer who hasn't cut their teeth already. And that I think is really special because I think we can all be in it for so long. We only know these players. These are the ones who kind of get the heads, and it doesn't sound like you play that game. You're like, I'm giving the talented one place.
Well, and we do so many projects in Southern Home, you know, we do 6 or 7 in every issue. So that is a lot. And I try to make sure that my projects are geographically distributed as well as the styles are, because you can't be everything to everyone. Now, because I'm not a designer, I'm not a journalist, I truly look at it as a homeowner. You know, do I find this house inviting? Would I feel comfortable sitting down? And it's not just about how much money you spend. It's about how you put it all together and what's the end result. And because we do whole home tours, you have to have the magic in more than one room,
That's
right? So, I mean,
great. Yeah.
and I mean, I look at some magazines and I'm like going, I don't get it. And if I don't get it, it's probably not going to go in my magazine. If I'm having to think too hard, not that I can do mental gymnastics sometimes, but, probably less so, I spend my mental gymnastics on being honey time, so, but I mean, those kind of things, it's like, okay, really, would anybody really do that in their house? probably not going to come in my magazine.
So that I have a follow-up question to something that you said, and you don't have to answer this. We can edit it out if you don't want to answer it.
Open
But
book.
you said that there are some things that other editors do that make you scratch your head. Is that one of the things that you're referring to, or can you give us like another thing that you're just like, I don't understand the how or the why of that decision?
Well, some projects are just eliminated because they're okay. We have a competitor, and if you don't have a famous homeowner, you're not going to get in. Okay. Well, I don't care. I don't not care about the homeowner. The homeowners are generally lovely, and I need them, but that's not my thing. And so that has become very popular with competitors. Like, okay, if I'm not going to publish you unless it's Jennifer Aniston's home. Mm-hmm. Well, again, Jennifer Aniston is probably lovely and has a beautiful home, but I don't care. Mm-hmm. I want to talk to the designer who did her home, and she can remain anonymous. And that's the other thing. A lot of people will only publish if the homeowners are named. I am happy to say the homeowner, because I'm going to be interviewing Rainey, and Rainey can say the homeowners or the husband or the wife or whatever, whatever. There are ways around that, whereas some of those projects don't get published because they don't have a famous person.
Right. As a Southern girl, this sounds so approachable and so authentic and so kind and so lovely. And so it really is on brand, the things that you're saying, and really resonate with me.
Well, and I love to entertain. I love to have people in my house and as my husband says, it's an occupational hazard that I get to go in these really beautiful homes because I'm coming home going, wow, we could do this. And he was like, oh gosh, back the bus up. We don't need to do that. Let's just have a hot moment here. But it is fun. And when I see the project, it was like, readers are going to really like this because they're going to figure out how, that really strong color that you thought probably I'm not daring enough. You see how it's beautifully executed, and it gives you confidence, right? That you say, I think I could do that in my own home.
Absolutely.
Love it.
And you spoke to the entertaining, your panel earlier, which was fantastic. And I'm totally going off script now, so I don't even know what that's supposed to say. But you spoke to a house it can be beautiful, but it's the people that you in the entertaining part,
right?
And so seems like it's a really common thread. You are very much into bringing people together and celebrating.
And a lot of that has to do with I am truly concerned about how we live in an Instagram, Facebook world where we see that everything is perfect. And it becomes almost a noose that we don't want to invite somebody over because I don't have the rug that I really want, or my pillows aren't whatever. It's all a bunch of nonsense, really, because what people want is a face-to-face connection and feeling like this person has seen me, they've heard me, not that they like me, they put a heart next to something that I curated on Instagram. And Instagram, look, I use Instagram. It's part of my business, but I don't live and die by Instagram. It doesn't define me. And I would say at the end of the day, what's important, no one's going to give me a gold star on my tombstone that, it's like that I was a good mom and wife and honey to my grandkids and daughter to my parents. That's, as my boss would say, we are just enriching people's lives. We're bringing a little joy. We are not curing cancer. I have no illusions about that. But what I do, I pour everything I have into making it the very best that it can be within the parameters that I have.
So this makes me very curious about your home. I have two questions. Okay.
Okay.
So number one, did you have a designer help you with your home.
Yep.
And I was going to ask, and who is it? And number 2, what is your favorite piece in your own home and why?
Well, okay, so we have built 7 homes over the course of our marriage, and this home...
And you're still married.
We're still married.
Oh, okay.
We're still married. We're a success story. Some days, we thought this house we renovated, and I would build a house 10 times over than I would renovate. And, Knoxville's not a big city, and you bring some ideas because guess what? I've been to places that are a little more forward. And they're like, oh, that's not the way we do it. And it's like, it's a big world out there. Like, let's just try this. Okay. So, like I had a Navy study in 2018. Okay.
Ooh,
so
it's avant-garde.
Yeah, right. And literally I have had probably 10 projects. All the studies were Navy. And I love it. And that's what I want to say. I love this home, and I would be like absolutely pleased as punch to live in it. But I can't have every project look the same. And that's probably the hardest message. It's easy when it just doesn't quite fit, but it's hard when it's a really beautiful project, but every study is navy, every sofa is light blue, the club chairs are white with blue trim. I mean, I can see it all in my head because I've seen it so many times, and that's the thing. And I do want to tell people, when you're submitting projects, if you haven't had it professionally shot, take iPhones pictures. Pictures do not lie. You can tell where your holes are. I mean, if you have a problem, call me up. I have walked through so many designers.
Can we have your cell phone number?
So what was that again?
I literally spent 2 hours with this one designer, and she was young, and she just didn't see. And again, I'm not a designer, but I see thousands of images. And I don't want to be negative. I can tell you it's a beautiful project, but I can also really hone in on what's wrong with your project, or why it's wrong for me, or what I need. And, sometimes designers, they're confused about what publication they're trying to get it in. Like, I need whole house projects. I don't care about a tight shot of flowers. That's fine for your Instagram, but I don't care in terms of, but there are publications that are very much into those kind of shots. So you need to know what you're going after, right? And you need to, if your goal is to really show a broad spectrum of design talent, you need to be showing that in terms of like your Instagram or Facebook, not have everything be all neutrals. If you really want to say, I can do neutrals and color.
Which is an artist you should be able to do.
Right.
But to that designer, the younger designer, or just even somebody who hasn't been published and they think their work is amazing, because it is, what do you recommend? I mean, so people say hold back your, we had this, that was on the thing yesterday, forever people were to hold their work before they actually got published, and it could be a couple years. And now with Instagram, that's our marketing. So what do you guys...
So for us, I do not want you to show big room shots, because that's what I want to show.
Okay.
I don't want to have content that's been already seen before, because why do they need me?
Okay.
Right?
There it is.
But it doesn't bother me if you have a tighter shot of a vignette in that room, because it doesn't give away the whole design.
Right.
But once it's published,
you can knock yourself out. Yeah.
Okay.
And I want you to, and tag Southern Home Mag. Yeah. So, I mean, but it needs to be kind of mutually beneficial, right? Mm-hmm. So that's a big thing that I'm, in terms of vendors that advertise with me, in terms of designers, I try to be a good steward, a good partner. And that's and I'm going to be honest with you, or whoever happens to pitch the project. not unkind, but honest. And I do suffer from directness, so that's
Me too.
my spiritual gift.
Me
But
too.
but at least you're not confused, right? Where I stand.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. So I want to shift the conversation just a little bit, because one of the reasons you're in town for Design
Right.
Week is that you published this gorgeous new book, The Inviting Southern Home.
Correct.
And it's celebrating 10 years
Right.
of the publication of Southern Home. And I guess your DNA is all over every single issue.
Yes.
And
Because it is me.
it is you.
I am the problem, and the problem is me. So,
Okay, Taylor.
All right,
yeah,
Tay-Tay.
you know,
I feel you.
So, I mean, truly, it's like I don't have a huge staff. It is me and an art director.
So
And-
how many projects did you showcase in here?
18, but I literally culled from 500
That
projects.
was my next question. How did you decide?
Well, I mean, there are projects that really, really stand out to you as like they just did it well. And particularly for this book, I mean, I don't chase trends, okay? So I want somebody to be able to pick this book up in 10 years and not have a clue as to when it was published. I mean, timeless. And I can say I have a whole catalog of Southern accent books, except for the fact that the photography is very grainy and yellow. You would not have any idea necessarily when those projects were done. And that is always kind of the underlying, like, okay, is this timeless? Would you see this in 5 years? I mean, even though there can be trends, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But you don't want a book of trends. Who wants that?
Go to Target.
That was so last year, right? It's like,
Yeah. And that is, I think, so to your Southern roots and your
Right.
goal of really keeping that, what do you find in your head? What is Southern? Because it is a little different for some people, maybe, because you see very modern things in the very
Yes.
Southern cities. And,
right.
the kind of that juxtaposition. What will you entertain a place that's not maybe as traditionally Southern?
Right. So we do eclectic properties, but you can be eclectic. We're not going to do super modern because that just doesn't have
Off-brand.
that warm vibe that we like. But eclectic, transitional, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not like signing up for, chintz and antiques. That's not what Southern is anymore.
So I guess that's my question. What are you seeing
Yeah.
Southern is? Because I think a lot of people still have the chintz and
Yeah.
very heavy. And
Very
we know because
frilly,
we're all
yeah.
in the South, but people
Yeah.
who haven't really engaged in it. So what do you see is
So what
Southern
I'm looking for, and for all the designers out there, this is just note to self. When you submit a project, I understand that you might not have done the exterior. And oftentimes they don't want to shoot the exterior. But as a reader, you like to know what the exterior looks like. So when you go in, are you surprised? Does it fit the exterior? Is it is there tension? So please shoot the exterior. Just make your option. Don't limit your options, because I'm like, you don't have an exterior shot, which I don't have to have it all the time, but it sure makes for a much better story. Just even if it's a small image that we run, or outdoor living spaces are so big. And that's, again, people don't necessarily design them, but if they do, they really do want to show them off. And we're happy to show them off because that's such a big part. So, when I say, okay, what's inviting to me? Well, I like beautiful drapery with trim on the leading edge. I absolutely like photo styling tip. A brown horizontal surface, dining table or kitchen island without anything on it, not visually appealing.
Not happening.
So to me, I almost always say, please set your dining room table with your client's china. Or put something on there. But I just feel like the china just tells a story, because I'm a china hoarder. I have 12 sets of china. and I love it. I mean, I take everybody's china. Oh, I don't like it. My mom, I'm going to don't. No.
I'll take it. I'll home it.
I'll take it. And I have rehomed it back to their grandkids. Okay. True story. It hurt my heart that my friend was giving away her mom's china. And this lady happened to babysit for me sometimes when we lived in Atlanta. And so it's like, you cannot give away Mimi's china. Mm-hmm. I'll take it. I don't know exactly when or where I'm going to use it. And so we ended up, Southern Lady is a sister publication. I was like, hey, y'all ought to do, this was before Southern Home was born, but y'all ought to do a New Ways with Old China, that you can take this china with the little bitty blue flowers around it and make it feel modern and current for younger readers. And they did do that. So I took it, and then 5 years later, my friend calls me and says, do you still have her mom's china, Mimi's china? I'm like, I do. And she goes, well, so-and-so really wants it. And I'm like, okay, come get it. Aren't you glad
what a great
give
story.
It away?
Love that.
So all of you china hoarders,
So we have your cell phone number. Now we need your address.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
To send our china.
Yeah.
So I have a question about this book. So you said there's 18 projects in it.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I always want to know the inside scoop on things. So you got it down to like 20. To get it down to those 18, did you go to, I like this designer better?
No.
She's prettier?
No.
No. She had stuff on her brown table? No. How did you decide?
We actually got it down to 35.
Oh.
And then we decided, what our chapters were going to be: classic, colorful, retreat, second homes. And then we literally printed those out, and then we looked at them like, what really stands out? Like, what's really grabbing your eye? And it needs to play well within the other chapters, okay? I mean, the other stories. So that's really, and the others were beautiful, but in the context of the book, this is what stood out to us.
So there'll be a book for year 11. Is that what I'm hearing? Those projects are going in the next book.
I have had people ask me to do one like on living rooms or living spaces. Not living room. Living room, it feels like a dated term, right? Just like den. People don't say den anymore. I mean, but it's almost like gathering rooms. This kind of, just like you're not allowed to say a main bedroom or master bedroom. That is politically incorrect. Right. So you have to say primary, and things evolve. And so I do feel like living spaces are such a big area, just like kitchens. It's hard if your kitchen's not beautiful. And some people will say, oh, I did everything but the kitchen. It's like, well, when you do the kitchen, come back to me.
Yeah, that's a trick. The everything but a kitchen kind of makes you go, because the kitchen's where everybody spends their spot.
That's right.
So I'm curious, and not to derail because I love the design side, but what, in reading your bio, community is very important to you, and so to you, where's your heart in that area? What is your sort of heartstring pulled when in community? Is it kids? Is it dogs? Is it all the way around?
Well, certainly kids. Church
involved?
Is a huge part of my life.
Okay.
And, my mom, who is 96 years old.
Wow.
There was never ever a day in my life that I lived in my parents' house that there was not a homemade cake, pie, or cookie every day. Mm. And to that end, my mom still likes to make cakes, yeast rolls. She'll call people, I just have a pan of yeast rolls coming out of the oven. I'm like, who in their right mind says no to that? Yeah, and yes, I'm partial, but it's like that I have this, I can give this to you is so important. And I tell friends in Knoxville, it's like, hey, my opinion is worth the Diet Coke that you can give me. I'm not a designer. I have an opinion. good, bad, or indifferent. And you're not going to hurt my feelings if you don't take my advice, but I get to see a lot of things and I'm happy to help you. Just, so that's kind of, but, as a person that gets to see a lot, yeah, I have an opinion and I am pretty good, but sometimes I get stumped in my own house because I've seen a lot. And it's hard to have somebody that's kind of on your same path. But I've always had, two really good friends who love design and have a strong opinion. So that's always nice. And not that you shouldn't hire a designer, but I'm kind of like, I've been down this rodeo before and I have such a strong opinion. I don't need to pay someone to disagree with them.
Do you ask your friends for their advice sometimes?
There's two that I do. And the rest of them, no, because they don't really, they're not in that world. Okay. They're not comfortable. They don't love it. I mean, everybody has their thing, some people are really big into tennis. I mean, you wouldn't ask me about anything tennis because I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't really care. But, that's, you have to find your tribe. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of where the Houston design community really has a real nice tribe. And I believe you can feel candid with each other about, okay, I'm really struggling with this.
Mm-hmm. We actually have an episode that dropped today, and it's about the questions that clients ask us that are sometimes shocking, and they can almost be off-putting because they don't know what they don't know. So you're exactly correct. Sort of knowing what's appropriate or inappropriate in different settings and how that relates to what we do.
Right.
Is very important.
Right. Can I use your discount?
That's our favorite.
It's a favorite.
That's one of our favorites. We actually dove really
most.
deep on that because we don't actually get a discount. So it was a good
then
one.
The answer is yes, you can, but I don't have one.
You could if we got one.
But maybe next time.
We don't get a discount. We just have a price, and we pay that price. We don't have a discount.
Yeah,
and you pay a price.
You're going to pay a price too, which will not match that price.
Right.
So all of those things are so interesting, and so. It's Saturday morning, and you don't have a publication coming out. It's all ready to go, sitting on your desk, and you're just at home. What are you doing?
I get up and I walk.
How far?
Close to 5 miles.
Oh, wow.
And in Knoxville, it's really beautiful right now in the morning. It's 57 degrees, and it's hilly, and sometimes I walk even further, but I mean, that's generally my get up and if I feel like walking further, I walk further. And then I do all the normal things, do the laundry. I go to the grocery store. I'm an avid reader. I love to read. And, when I'm in binder phase, I'm like, my head is in a computer all the time. And I don't enjoy reading at that point in time. But when I'm away from the pressure of finding errors, that's what the binder phase is, finding all your errors, then I can blow through 4 or 5 books a week.
Wow. And what are you reading? What kind of
I read
what's your
everything.
passion? Everything.
Right now I started reading like Lisa Scottolini books. I love, like, if any of y'all haven't read The Nightingales, that's a wonderful Kristen Hanna book. If you have sisters, it just, really. But I ask people for recommendations all the time. I keep a list, and I'm like, okay, this is on my list. And I go to the public library and check out lots of books.
I love
that,
I love
actually.
that.
Yeah, it's
I'm
really
so
neat.
old.
No,
you don't
you're
just
not.
go on Amazon.
But,
I love
smell,
that.
The library has that. The Heights one is so fantastic. We'll walk through.
We have a great library, and it's like I could buy that. I could go buy the books. I could, but then what? Okay, I can go check this thing out. I have 3 weeks to read it. Yeah, all good.
That's
all good.
Really
then
neat.
I return it, and somebody else loves on it.
So when we first sat down before the mics were on, we were kind of just talking, and you were really passionate about just community and people just being. And so Houston is a place. And so I really want to just make sure to thank you for bringing that energy here, because the designers you had on your panel were special. You know, of course, they're Houston, so we love them. But your passion for this city and the designers here is really cool. And I don't think...
But literally, Houston loved me first, okay? You know, so it's literally like a first love for me. I mean, Houston truly embraced me in a way, and Southern Home. And I mean, shout out to Leslie Sinclair, because, I mean, I was doing a photo shoot in Austin. I wanted to meet with her, and she was like, "Where are you staying?" And it's like, "Oh, I don't know, because I have another shoot in Houston. Just come stay with me." And then it evolved, and that night she had thrown together a wine and cheese party for 20 designers that showed up, you know, and it's like, who does that? I mean, she didn't know me from Adam's house cat. I mean, other than the fact that, you know, but wow. And the people were so genuinely nice and accepting. And it's hard to put into words, but people have choices. You know, they have choices with the magazines they buy, with the books they buy. They have choices, and I don't take that for granted. And when people are good to me, I'm
good right back.
Yeah. What goes around comes around.
How often does your magazine?
6 times a year. It is bi-monthly.
Okay, bi-monthly. Okay, so make sure that you subscribe to this.
Yes, please. It makes a wonderful gift. If you're,
That's a great idea.
The gift that keeps on giving. Every other month, you get something beautiful in your magazine, in your mailbox, that you can just sit there and be inspired by, and, you know, get ideas from. And
I love that.
And then where are you getting, and for the book, which is so beautiful, where can people get that? I mean,
you can go to Southern Home Mag. You can go to Hoffman Media. It will be in like Barnes and Noble, but I mean, we can ship it right to your door.
Okay.
I love that. You have been so lovely. I don't know about the people in the audience, but for me, and I know I can speak for Casey, sometimes being around editors can be daunting and it can feel a little bit scary. And you have made this so comfortable. We just put our notes away and just had a conversation. And so I am incredibly grateful. We are incredibly grateful.